Right, in this regard, we're going to be talking about something that number of times we talked about, more than 4 or 5 times. And that is the month of Sha'baan. Month of Sha'baan is already, now we know that it's not a long way to go, less than 3 weeks. And the month of Ramadan. And we are in the month of Sha'baan. I'm going to start with a hadith which normally I've never started with. A hadith I want to share it with you because somebody had asked me about it and it's been misused. The hadith, which is hadith Imran ibn Husayn radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, Asunta surar or sarar Sha'baan? Did you fast sarar of Sha'baan? The word sarar that explained in it. He said, Messenger of Allah, no. So he said, إذن فإذا أفطرت رمضان فصوم يومين مكانه. That if you finish fasting Ramadan, then fast 2 days instead of it. Now that hadith is interpreted in the following way. By the way, in hadith you find the origin of it is in Sahih Imam Muslim. It is being interpreted in this way that, oh, Messenger of Allah is asking Imran ibn Husayn, did you fast from the middle of Ramadan? So those are the ones who are keen to make sure that the 15th night of Sha'ban has been, or the 15 days have been fasted. Did you fast from the middle of Ramadan? That's an interpretation. Another interpretation is it that somebody as well translated into that, did you fast from the beginning of Ramadan? And looking at what the scholars they said regarding this issue, Asunta min sarrati hada ash-shahr, sarra, which is when the month disappears. And the correct interpretation of such word, sarar, that is, did you fast from the end of Sha'ban, ya Imran? He said no. He said, when you finish Ramadan, then fast 2 days instead of that. Now that hadith, it might pose a problem for some of you, because we know, can I just ask the brother to fill up the gap, please? Don't leave gaps, jazakumullah khairan. We find that the Prophet ﷺ, he did not encourage us to fast the last days of Sha'ban unless if it's a habitual fast. He said, لا تقدموا رمضان لا بيوم ولا يومين. Don't preempt Ramadan by fasting a day or 2. So the scholars regarding the interpretation, which is, did you fast the end of Sha'ban? He said, no, Messenger of Allah. He said, value then after Ramadan is finished, fast 2 days instead of it. Then we have to interpret now, why is the Prophet ﷺ saying to that person? Well, there are a number of interpretations, because our job is not to make the hadith conflict with one another. Our job is to make sure that before we arrive to the conclusion one obligates the other, that is to find a way of implementing both of them. So this man, Imran ibn Husayn radiallahu anhu, he could be one of those people who had made a habitual fast all the time, that is to habitual fast, to fast in the month of Sha'ban from the beginning of it and especially at the end of it. And he was afraid that if he's to fast the end of Sha'ban, he will be entering the prohibition of the Prophet of Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ asked him, did you fast those days that you usually fast? Ya Imran? He said, Imran, no, Messenger of Allah. He said, then we'll finish Ramadan, then fast 2 days of it. That means if you've got the habitual fast, then keep that habitual fast all the time. That's an interpretation. So it is like when we have a habitual to pray the sunnah, the two sunnah before and 2 sunnah after the dhuhr. If you have missed the 2 sunnah before for a legitimate reason, you could pray these 2 sunnah what? After the dhuhr. But is this comparable to the fast of Sha'ban? Is it considered to be, that is, you're fasting something which is habitual, then you compensate? So for example, you have missed Monday, you fast Tuesday instead of Monday. Do you understand what I'm saying? We say, Wallahu ta'ala a'lam, the correct opinion that regarding this issue, no. So if you have first fasted Monday and you've missed it because of a legitimate reason, then you're considered to be what? Fasting. And if you did not fast it for no reason, then you missed it. So you cannot compensate that day. So if you have deliberately did not fast Monday or Thursday or the last days of Sha'ban, which you usually fast, and you had no legitimate reason, that is legitimate reason that you couldn't do it because you forgot maybe, or because you were ill Oh, because you were on a journey. Apart from that, there is no reasons. So we say to you that you have missed that sunnah. So we come back at the end of the hadith. So how the Prophet said compensate after fasting Ramadan? The opinion is that after considering lots of opinion on the scholars, we say that the man, Imam Hussein, must have had a vow for those days. So he vowed those to fast these days. When you vow to fast days, then it becomes compulsory to fulfill that vow. So the vow is the correct or the most closest interpretation. While the Prophet of Allah, he said to him, when you finish the month of Ramadan, then you compensate by fasting the 2 days. And of course, there are other scholars talk about the issue that is because of the narration. Some of them say fast 1 day or fast 2 days. Why did he fast 2 days? So anyway, we cannot use that hadith in order to say that we could fast the middle of Sha'baan in order to honor the night which is called the night of mid-Sha'baan. For the very the Prophet ﷺ, he said, that is ينزل الله تبارك وتعالى ليلة النصف من شعبان. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, descends down in the midnight of Sha'baan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he descends down in the midnight of Sha'baan. فَيَغْفِرُ لِجَمِيعِ خَلْقِهِ, and he will forgive to all his creation, إِلَّا مُشَاحٍ أَوْ mushrik. That is, except for a person who has in his heart a grudge, a hatred, a malice towards his brothers, or a mushrik, making a shirk by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether the shirk is major or that shirk is minor. So, in order for that person to gain the forgiveness, يغفر الله subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will forgive to all the people. ينزل الله تبارك وتعالى ليلة النصف من شعبان إلى السماء الدنيا. He would descend down to the nearest heaven and he would forgive to all the people. So you need to know that in order to gain that benefit, which is to gain the sin forgiveness, is to avoid to be having shirk, major or minor. And the other issue is to make sure that I have no dispute to do with dunya with my brothers. If it's to do with deen, no problem. If you have a boycotting with a brother because of his religion, because of his bid'ah, no problem, because of the deen. But because of the dunya, you only have 3 days. Otherwise, it will turn into a major sin. And the person may not, for example, stand in a prayer in that night. For example, designate that night to pray late night prayer. Or for example, on the following day to designate a fast. This is where I came to produce that hadith in order to say to you that that hadith does not support those people who say to fast the midday of Sha'baan. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't need to forgive us. He doesn't need to descend down in order to forgive us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants to do that because He Himself wants to do that. And He wants to show the importance of that night. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He does not just descend in the midnight of Sha'baan to the nearest heaven. He descended every single night in the last day of the night. But the descendants of the midnight of Sha'baan is an extra. It is descendants plus. And it's the plus which is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would forgive to each person, whether he's fasting or not fasting. He doesn't have to do any ibadah. He doesn't have to ask, seek forgiveness. All he has to do, as I said, keep away from the disputes with his brothers, in dunya wise, and also keep away from the shirk. And he will be masha'Allah. The Prophet ﷺ used to fast Sha'baan so much that he usually used to fast the month of Sha'baan that is almost like he fasted the whole month. And no month would compete with the month of Sha'baan except, of course, the month of Ramadan. He used to fast all of it. The other months, he does not, the Prophet of Allah, fast as many as he does in Sha'baan. So Sha'baan used to fast a lot. And there are a number of reasons why the Prophet of Allah used to fast in the month of Sha'baan a lot. The first reason, we don't say the fast in Sha'baan is the best of the fast after Ramadan. The best of the fast after Ramadan is the month al-Haram, which is Shahr al-Haram. But because of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, ذَاكَ شَهْرٌ يَغْفُلُ عَنْهُ النَّاسِ. It's a month where the people do not pay attention. Lies between Rajab, which is a sacred month, and the month of Ramadan. This is why. Hadith Usama, that ذَاكَ شَهْرٌ يَغْفُرُ النَّاسُ عَنْهُ. People are not aware of it. They don't pay attention to it. Between Rajab, which is a sacred month, and the month of Ramadan. فِيهِ تُرْفَعُ الْأَعْمَالُ إِلَى اللَّهِ. In that month, deeds are lifted to the Almighty. So their deeds are lifted plus. The deeds are lifted every Monday and Thursday. But in the month of Sha'baan, they're lifting plus. So there's an extra lifting. And the Prophet said, I would like my deeds to be lifted while I'm fasting. That is what. The other reason is that the companions from the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, because of their issues of, that is, menstruation, they don't fast in the month of Ramadan during particular days. And they have to compensate for those days. So Aisha, she said, we used to be preoccupied by the matters of the Prophet of Allah, from the engaged with him in the matters of, for example, the guests coming, traveling journeys, battles and all of that. We would not have enough time to compensate for the days that we missed on Ramadan until the following Sha'baan, that is 10 months later or 11 months later. And that is why the Prophet of Allah used to fast along with his wife in order to encourage them to fast. So this is what also another reason, Ibn Hajar had said, Husn al-Mu'ashara, to be good to his wives, so you fast along with them. So we've got two reasons why the Prophet of Allah used to fast a lot in the month of Sha'baan.